spontaneous live, but it's becoming more of a structured live because we have during the week conversations with content creators on the Useful Content Creation Show. And then now we're having extended conversations on Saturdays with the same content creators that we had on earlier in the week. And today we have an exceptional content creator, chef and steward, content queen, lifestyle coach, the one and the only Kari Heron with us. And of course, she can add all the different things to the end of that because there's many different things. I told her that I tried to get into her content and there seemed to be no end in sight. So I had to kind of take a pause and just grab some things that I could use for today. And we're going to go with that. But introduce yourself to the people, Kari. Some people may not have seen the stream live earlier this week. So let's do that introduction again.
I'm Kari, as you know by now, and I do the work of helping people to enrich and enhance their lives through food, lifestyle, and through coaching. And I do that for people as well as for businesses. So I really am in the business of relationships, and I'm all about serving the good life in whatever way, because once we start to work on the inside, then it all spreads outwardly. So I'm building great societies, great regions, one person at a time, one business at a time. That's it in a snippet.
That's a great way to put it. You did not say that earlier this week. You see why things are different sometimes when you have multiple conversations. So that's really excellent. So I met you on LinkedIn. I was really kind of like looking at your content and saying, ooh, the first thing that caught me actually was your photograph.
My profile photo.
Yeah, the photo. So you're like, it's, you know, you have this happy, very, very jovial, very happy, very expressive kind of photograph. And the photography seems to carry out through all of your content and even your videos. Can you tell us a bit about why you chose to create the photograph like that?
Well, you know, and it's very, very interesting that you bring that out as well, because even in terms of colors and motifs as well, like this that I'm wearing is a Middle Eastern print. Right. And that's also in the LinkedIn photograph. I'm wearing a scarf that's made from a Middle Eastern print, both got me in Jordan. I spent a lot of time in the Middle East. And in fact, the brand Chef and Steward was created in the Middle East. And so because I come from a brand background, marketing, media, communications background, I understand consistency in the messaging. So even though I tailor things according to different audiences, there has to be, even if you see me on a Saturday somewhere different, you have to say, oh, you can recognize Kari. She may be different, she coming different, but it's still Kari. And so, but there's a level of authenticity that also rings through even down to the imagery in terms of how I go about branding, and even in terms of social media as well. So
there are two things in your statement just now that really stood out to me. The first thing was, you said, even if you see me, which should tell people something about where you're from, and you're going to talk about that a little bit more. And the second thing is that you spoke about consistency, which ties back to the way you said what you said. So let's talk a bit about where you came from, your journey along the way, and consistency in your, apart from your initial stuff, but consistency in general. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, I was born, bred, and fed in Jamaica. I know you want me to say.
There we go.
So I wanted to change things up a little bit this time to make it a little bit more dynamic. But yes, I was born, bred, and fed in Jamaica. And the funny thing about Caribbean people is that once we get to sit with somebody from the Caribbean, we automatically go into our little lime mode. You know, it's like a Yui bench somewhere across, somewhere, you know, just holding a lime. And so we were interspersed with, of course, we speak English, but it's interspersed with our native colloquialisms that really help to define us, and funny enough, have become part of even mainstream communication as well. So consistency now in terms of my approach to what specifically?
Consistency in approach to the type of content that you put out, and just having the same message everywhere. Okay, so let me ask it a different way. Do you think it's important that people be consistent in the content that they put out, and they appear the same way everywhere?
Here's a funny thing about it. It may seem like I'm into a lot of things because of the things that I'm interested in, and I didn't want to be pigeonholed in like food only, because I mean, a man can talk about food all the time. Yeah, you ever been pregnant yet? And you're pregnant and you don't want to eat it, or you want to smell food. I was writing about food on my column, working for a company in food, as well as writing a food blog when I couldn't go anywhere near kitchen during pregnancy.
Oh.
So the whole point is that I'm much more diverse than one particular niche. But even if I go across different niches, I am Kari through and through. So it's Kari on food, it's Kari on lifestyle, it's Kari on coaching, it's Kari on finances, it's Kari on parenting. So it's that level of consistency in me does not mean that you're only gonna get the same message, the same genre all the time, but what you're gonna get is the same vibe. So Kari can show up in a designer business suit. Kari can show up differently as well, but it's Kari nonetheless.
So then what is the Kari vibe? What's the Kari aesthetic? How would you describe that?
Well, do you know, the essence is that I'm very proud of my culturally relevant education. I am a child, a product of not only Jamaica, but of the Caribbean. I went to university at the University of the West Indies. So my consciousness about a regional forward approach to life has always been, I mean, like when I tell you, like I've been to Trinidad twice, I've been to Antigua twice, I've been to other places as well. But the fun thing about it is that when you have this informed perspective of our history of the Caribbean, our culture of the Caribbean, and it's something that we are very, very, very proud of as a people. Even the differences among us, you know, because we all have our issues with each other. We all have our beefs, but don't let somebody else come. Let us all be together, and then somebody externally come against one of us. Just like a family, it's like, hello, stick up in. What you doing to my brother, my sister? You know, so that it's a Caribbean aesthetic, which is very people forward, very family centric, being even the brand chef and steward, it's being resourceful, using what you have, making do with what you have, and really, really making the best of it. You showing people that what we have considered to be, we call it turn your hand make fashion in Jamaica. You know, this idea of being very, very resourceful, taking the mickle and just, you know, like just taking this one little thing, taking a little piece of saltfish and making the most amazing bulldog, you know, that sort of a thing. So really what we do is we look at life and we try to help people define what it means to have a good life, a good business, and to build that, and to also be able to pass that on to generations. I'm all about that. I'm all about the family as well. And, you know, I'm a parent as well. And those things ring true, those values ring true throughout.
I saw that that your son had practiced for capoeira, and he was doing a very wicked side split. You know, I saw that. How is he doing with that? Is he still inside the capoeira?
He is in capoeira. He's in football as well, and he's on pause with the drumming. But yeah, he is very much involved in his sports, and it's very important for him because I believe in rounded development, and I show these things not just to show, but to and that's something that he practiced on his own, by the way. So he is his own coach. He learned that way before he was taught that in capoeira class, because he was practicing on his own. The first few times I saw him do it, I was like, the mama in me was like, Jesus, just
take the wheel.
Yes, but you know, so even those things are very important. The showing of and the cultural representation is very important as well. We have to be able to see people who look, sound like ourselves as well.
You mentioned several times in what you were saying before about your school. You mentioned a UE, which I know is a big thing for a lot of people. But there's also a other thing that is very big, which came up earlier this week. Campion. Now, to be honest, when you said it first, I thought it was champion. So I was thinking walk like a champion, but clearly is walk like a champion, talk like a champion. Other Peter school got, tell me where you get it from, it type of thing. You were, that was the thing. So tell me a little bit about Red is Strong, about Campion, and how that has influenced your journey.
Campion was one of those schools where I think I've always liked challenges. And Campion was a challenge because I wanted to go to what was considered the best school, what was considered the hardest school to get into. And so I did that. I got the common entrance exam. I was like a few marks from getting a government scholarship, and because I don't like to check out my work.
Right.
But anyway, I went to Campion, and Campion was very, very, very interesting for me. One of the things that one of the biggest highlights of Campion for me was my guidance counselor, Mr. Binns, who is recently deceased. But this is a power of teaching, which is also something that's very close to and a lot of what I do. Is that once it is that you are really operating where you're supposed to operate, and you have a passion for people, then you're able to really mold and people. When I was 15 years old, he came up with this concept of bringing in this thing called an aptitude test. And in his aptitude test, I discovered that I had the greatest affinity for two careers, law and media. So I decided that I was going to do A-level law after Campion. And when I saw them law tomes, I was like, I love reading, and I love the stories of the court casings, but whoosh, I'm out of here, dude. So I concentrated on media. And 1 year after I was on national television, having auditioned for a teen show, Rapping, and Rapping was also the place where a lot of very great presenters have come up through in Jamaica. Lisa Han, politician now, also former Miss World. Simone Clark Cooper, Livingston White, who is now the head of Karimac. And so they were all on Rapping as well. So many of us have gotten some fundamental training, and it's so important to get that training. But in communication so early, Yvonne Chin as well. So it's so important to get that kind of training when you're young, so you're able to figure out kind of like who you are and where your talents are, and how to not be afraid to be able to show up without apology.
Yeah, and I think that's very important for people when they're growing up, that they have interactions with influential people in their life and in their developmental stages. Because I remember some of the teachers who influenced me, and I didn't just take the thing that they taught me, the academics. I took their perspectives and their attitudes, and how Mr. King, he was very strict, but he was very much helpful in the way that he structured our lessons, and he wanted us to pass. You could see it in his heart. Mr. Laura, who paid an interest in me, and when I told him, at the time I said I wanted to be a teacher, which he was really, really excited by. That didn't happen, at least not in the traditional sense. And he was like, he came back years later after I got my CXC passes. He came back, I said, well, you could be one now. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure about that. And I went to a different path, but I am now doing it in a different way. So I could see why that is so critical and important. And what you said is very, very important. So the thing is that you are yourself a bit of a teacher, right? You do train and teach people in different ways. So it seems, when I look at your content, it seems that you teach people in food, but you also mix your food with your faith. Can you tell us a little bit about how that is structured, and why do you do that?
Because my life is my pulpit. And that's a level of consistency and authenticity. When I was in my 20s, and this is probably a pivotal point of information, bit of information. There was a period when I started to really delve into self-actualization, what it meant, who it is that I was, my purpose, meaning, things. And I can't say that I got the answer fully, but it was a real question that I had and a real pursuit of mine long before I started social media and developed the Chef and Steward brand. I've grown a lot since, but that has informed how I do life and how I do work. So even in terms of when I do training, people impact with me on a different level because I don't come with a front, I come as a whole. I don't come as a part, I come as a whole. And when you walk in the wholeness of what God has put you here for, then what impacts the world is got to be something magnanimous. Why? Because like our fingerprints, there is only but one of us. And when we are actually walking in that, then beautiful things happen, not just within us, but from us. So, you literally bloom where you are planted. And not only do you bloom, but you create an environment just by being that where others themselves, through being around you, can also bloom. And even in my content, that is definitely consistent.
That's a beautiful thing, and I think that having that really speaks to you being very authentic. And I know people throw that word around all the time, and it's lost a lot of its original meaning. But it speaks to you being authentic in the way you deliver, not just the thing, but the thing behind the thing. And I think that's important. That there are intangible things that we all have inside of our business. Now, the funny thing is that most people don't talk about those things very often, right? And if you do it well, you don't have to talk about about it often. But if it's part of who you are and how you want people to interface with you, you include that. So like relationship is big for us at Relate. And we don't often put that at the fore. I mean, I'm going to change that language. But yeah, when people deal with us over a period of time, they realize that that's a big thing. Mentorship is a big thing.
Before you've actually had to say it, you've done it. You've been it. You've done it. So that's what the consistency is.
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't know what it is, but there is something that I relate to with Relate. You know what I mean? That connection from before. And it's not about, because I'm also an NLP practitioner. I understand the whole concept of building rapport and all these things. And I understand all of the twisted ways that people can actually use to manipulate people, to like them, to buy stuff from them. I understand that there's a whole different side of that. But what I find is that if you are really true, then people get it, they feel it, they know it, they witness it. They say, we have a thing in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Your spirit take to somebody, your spirit don't take to somebody.
Wait, say that one more time and slow it down for all the people, international people who are going to hear this.
Your spirit take or your spirit don't take.
Oh, right.
My spirit has taken a liking to you, or my spirit somehow is in disagreement with you. We don't know exactly who it is that you are or what it is that you are. You may be great on paper. You look perfect here, but there is something behind all of that is hidden, that is not seen, that something in me that I cannot recognize what it is does not bear witness to. That there is some incongruence with what I see and the noise coming in behind.
Yeah, definitely. And people get that after a while if it's incongruent. They're like, what you say and who you are, two different things.
The lips moving, but the heart not speaking. The eyes not real. Yes.
They get that after a while. So it is, and I think that's at the core of why people would trust you and being authentic and all those different things. It's like, sometimes people don't say, they just kind of they disengage. They disengage. Hey, Lyndon, how are you doing, man? Can I show Lyndon's comments? Is it possible? Oh, he's saying, yeah, that is a big Caribbean saying. This is the first time I've shown a comment. Lyndon, you're the first person I've shown a comment on this live stream on Saturday on. Because it's being broadcast on YouTube, you probably got the notification. So I can show YouTube comments. Thanks, Lyndon, for saying that. It's true. It is a big Caribbean saying.
And there's one thing I wanted to mention in terms of the how that informs your content as well. Like, for example, the word influencer is thrown about, and many people think that influencer means the numbers behind a profile number.
Right.
But I come from a different approach to influence and media. And this is probably because I also have the studied, learned background, the academic media background, where I tend to feel things more like credibility, to find
Yes.
influence, not just numbers. So with credibility is authenticity and all of those other things that spin off as well. So,
Yes.
and even when people ask you, are you an influencer? Like Pauline, who I met, as well as hi Jared too. But Jared is on with us live. So
Hey.
Pauline asked me, are you an influencer this week? And I said, yes, and more. I influence influencers. That's my key. I want
Right.
to influence the people who have influence on others as well. So that whatever it is that I don't have to have big numbers, I just have to have big impact people in a big way to reach who I need to reach. And that also informs the kind of content that I put out, that I want to be able to add value to people. If I'm not teaching you something, making you laugh, showing you something, inspiring you some sort of way, or giving
Yes.
you a break, or just adding some value to the life, then what's the point? I'm not just going to do this for the sake of doing this. Not about it. And in fact, I have not put out a lot of content simply because of that. Because there's a line between
Right.
being real and being narcissistic.
Yeah. I mean, it's that definitely seemed like a lot to me, but I could tell that there has been evolution and there's been an ongoing kind of you can see the growth and the transition in the content and you've been consistent even with that. It's a strange thing. There's a thread that exists that doesn't change, but the content itself is evolving, and even the platforms you're doing it on is evolving. And we'll talk about Amazon Live in a little bit, but I wanted to get back to something that you said earlier. So let me give you a little story. So I worked, the last company I worked for before I went full time on my own and had my own business was a really excellent company out of Trinidad and Tobago called Telio Systems. Now I was the only graphic designer, UI designer in the entire company. Everyone else was writing software. Right? I was the only person inside that space at the time, and this is back in I left there in 2008. My old boss, mentor, excellent guy, one of the best leaders in the Caribbean, if not the best, as far as I'm concerned. There's a guy called Ronald Hines, and he used to always say this thing. The thing he used to always say is, "Suddenly takes a long time." And yes, and I saw that on LinkedIn there was a post where you were talking about. You said, let me quote you exactly. Keep going. You will grind with gusto for years, and then it takes one single moment for a sudden breakthrough. And I want to know, in the process of moving to success, I want you to talk about that, and I also want you to answer the question, in the process of moving to success, what are some of the important things that a Caribbean content creator and an entrepreneur has to consider?
Here's the first thing. Everybody's path is not yours. So try not to measure yourself by other people's yardsticks. It's like, and I liken this to like a garden.
Uh-oh. I think Kari just got cut off. Hopefully her internet comes back soon, and we're able to continue the conversation with her. Hopefully she jumps back on very, very soon. She's been. It seems that the internet has gone down, and this is part of doing live. Okay, so what we're gonna do in the meantime, while we're waiting her to get back on, she can log back on. She has the entry, the pass for logging back on. What we're gonna do in the meantime, while we're waiting her to get back in, we're gonna take a look at some of her content. So let me share with you her Pinterest page, because I found her Pinterest page to be very, very interesting. And the reason I found it interesting is that in our country, in Trinidad and Tobago, and my business partner Ayinde always says this, that Pinterest is the third largest social network in this country, and not much people are know that people are utilizing it, but not much people are. It's not any conversation, any general conversation for content presentation. And even in a meeting we had yesterday, a really excellent interaction with Pauline from ACM, that came up that Pinterest was one of the most popular platforms in Trinidad and Tobago by data. And I suspect, I don't know this for sure, I don't have the data on this. I suspect that is one of the best platforms for in the Caribbean, most used. Because even when I want to do my jobs or we have a project to do, we go pull examples and create boards on Pinterest and put it together and then send it over to the client, or we would ask them to send a board, pull together some content of what they want something to look like or examples that they like. And then when they pull together that particular board, then we can see where their head is at, where their ideas are. It's a really great place to curate example content and even to put your own content. In the days when we were looking at, when we were doing a lot of wedding photography, a lot of our content went there so that when people search for weddings in the Caribbean, they would bounce up on our content there. And the nice thing is that you didn't actually have to upload images straight to there. You literally would pin the image, and that's where the word Pinterest comes from. You would pin the image from wherever the source was, and it would appear on the Pinterest website. And now it's very, very robust. You can add audio, you can add video, you can actually create like stories on Pinterest. It's very, very robust. I am like, this thing is serious. This thing is very serious. Yeah. Definitely, it's big. It's big. Yeah, and Lyndon and Jared are agreeing. It is big. It is big. So I mean, and so that's something that any content creator in the Caribbean could consider, particularly in Trinidad and Tobago. They could consider jumping on to Pinterest. Now, obviously, you have to know what audience you have there. Pinterest itself is turning into a massive search engine as well. It's not turning into it. It is a massive search engine for images and for other pieces of content. And you can use it. So let me show you some of Kari's Pinterest content, which I found to be very engaging. Let me share that with you right now. Let me jump on here and share the particular screen with you. Jump into this Chrome tab, Pinterest, and I'll share the audio because she has some audio content on there, and I'll share it. Let me show it in the stream so we can be together with the content. Can I switch this? Let me switch this on. All right, so I'll stay in the corner here while I accept the thing, Pinterest. Thank you so much. So this is Kari's Pinterest page, which I find to be like, for out the gate, is very engaging. She has an excellent profile picture, and her banner obviously is focused on food. So she has chef and steward recipes, content, and lifestyle consultant. Here's the amazing thing about it. A few months ago, Kari posted a message saying that she had 1 million views, monthly views on Pinterest. 1 million. That was back in April, I think it was. Today, in June, she now has 2.8 million monthly views on Pinterest. I mean, in my mind, that's like it's blowing my mind. Like every month, so calculate that. Let's just suppose you get 2 million views on Pinterest per month, right? That is 24 million views per year. That is a lot of eyes on your content. Now, we don't know what that does for engagement, and we have to look at the data to see what returns people get on their content appearing on the platform. But that's something you have to think about. If you are in that space where people will search for your images, you have a lot of visual content, then in my mind, I'm beginning to think now, what can we do with that? What can specifically, excuse me, guys, specifically, not only what can we do with it, but the format in which Kari does her content. I want to show you how she does it and to really kind of take some notes, because this is like note-taking time with how she does it on her platform. Let me make this a little wider so we can see. So this is what she has. She has, of course, a name, and she has like a viewership, and you can follow her. I haven't followed her yet. Let me follow her live now on this stream. I'm going to follow her. So I'm now following Kari, right? So when she posts her Pinterest, I don't know if you call it stories or what, but it looks like stories. I will get them. So let me look at one of them. So she had one with, this is what I was going to ask her about. She has one with a Mother's Day brunch recipe. Let's take a look at that.
Here are some recipes to make your mama cry happy tears this Mother's Day. Kalaloo quiche, air fryer, jerk chicken wings, Escovitch fish with pickled onions, callaloo, steamed and delicious, roasted fish and papillote, Solomon grande on top of tostones, and roasted garlic and scallion mashed potatoes with rum and bread butter pudding.
Yeah, I find that so incredible. She just laid out a whole ton of menus. She starts off with saying, "This is some menus to make your mama cry on Mother's Day." Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, and I was gonna ask her, has she done anything for Father's Day? Where the fathers at, man? Where the fathers at? I was gonna ask her about that. So that is one example of how she's using it. Let me look for another piece that I like. So you can actually put the thing together. This is when she celebrated it. This is when she actually celebrated 1 million monthly
Today I have the
views.
distinct privilege of letting you know that I have hit 1 million monthly views on Pinterest. So thank you for viewing, and follow me if you haven't already done so. These are my inspirations for this week. An outdoor show like no other, as well as a nice little spot to read or do anything. That was my Sunday breakfast. And here's a great way to paint quickly and easily, and ways to adorn your outdoor pool with cactus. And these are some of the dishes I made for a dinner that I catered to. I was private chef. And this is my son's lunchbox for the day. He wanted microgreens. This is what you have when you have a chef kid. Hello.
Very cute, very cute. And the other amazing thing is that she is doing this number of views with only 3,000 followers. And I'm sure when she did it before, she literally, when she was getting 1 million views, literally had 515 followers. And now she's doing that same, well, more than that, with 3,000 followers, 2.8 million views. 2.8 million monthly views. So I think that's incredible. I think Kari's doing an excellent job with her content, getting it out there, getting people connected to it. And the way she puts things out, I love the way in which she mixes the images and the video along with the background music, and then she narrates it. The format is very, very engaging. And I'm kind of just going through some of them, and she takes some content like this one, for example.
These are my inspiration shots of plants in the bedroom. Here's how you green up your bedroom space. Different ways, different suggestions, different motifs, and even
I can skip to the other one.
spaces.
Oh no,
I
I can
have
just make it bigger and
two
smaller.
shots
Okay,
of
excellent. I
plants
didn't know
in
that.
other spaces.
I hit this here. Okay, I can see. I'm now, guys, I'm just learning this live here as well. I didn't know of all of the ways you could use it. It's excellent. So you can see how Pinterest could be a big help for you if you have certain types of content and you want to use that and present it to the world. It's very, very, very excellent. I found that to be so, so, so great. All right, so we've been waiting for a little bit for Kari to come back on. The conversation before she got bumped off was really very excellent, and I know she was about to say something incredibly important. Let me stop this share. Is she trying to message me? Oh, she has to log back in. She's saying, stop the browser. Let me tell her stop the browser. Yeah, I'm just telling her I'll use the same link. I want to tell her refresh the page. These are lessons for people to learn when they're on live streams. It doesn't exactly go all the way that you want it to sometimes, but you have to just roll with it. Let's see if she gets that message and she can jump back on. So I'll give it like 5 minutes. Let's continue to talk about some of the content that Kari is making. Now, Kari has a really excellent YouTube page as well, YouTube channel, not just a page, a channel. And the nice thing about her YouTube channel, she hasn't done a ton of content on it, but she started it a long time ago. One of the most popular videos she has is, I think it's doing jerk chicken. We can just take a look at that real quick. Let me hide this. Put myself back up there. Oh, she's back. Kari is back. Chicken. Kari is back. Kari, you're back on the stream.
I am.
I don't know what happened there.
I have no idea. But praise God for journeying mercies.
I'm not here. You're not. Wait, let me try and put this on. Okay, go ahead. Talk. Let me hear.
I have no idea, but thank you for joining Mercies.
All right. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Glad to have you back. I shared so much stuff while you were going about your content.
I wasn't quite certain what was going on because on my end, you had disappeared, but I was still there.
Oh yeah, well, the same thing happens on my end. What happened is that you dropped off, and then I filled up the whole screen, so you essentially got kicked out of the studio, which happens sometimes when the internet goes weird. All right, so we're back on with Kari. We are not done yet. We are not done. So I was just talking about your Pinterest, and I was kind of going through it and showing it.
The view is not bad, eh?
No, there's not. Okay, let's look at that one time. I went through it already and explained a sort of different things about it, but I want to get your take on some of the content that you have there. So let me show this in stream. I'll try and make us small. I have to clear my throat. I don't know what's going on with my throat these days.
There's a lot of dust in the air.
There is a lot of dust, and because of this AC that I installed yesterday, they did a lot of drilling, and so there is a lot of dust in the room in general. So I'm getting a little bit coffee. No, it's not that what you're thinking, people. Stop it. All right. So let me just show this in the stream here. And let me just change the way we look. There's different ways you could arrange it.
I really love this program that you're using.
Yes, it's nice, it's useful. All right, so what I'm gonna do is what I've learned with this software is that once I take you off the stage, we can't hear you anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide us and I'm going to put us back on, but I'm going to leave the page, right? Right. And then what will happen is I bring you back on and we'll do the commentary. Okay. All right. So that's what's going to happen now.
Let me know when to speak and I'll be quiet until then.
Okay. No worries. I'm going to hide us now. Right. Let me hide you. Last week I cut Jared off while he was making a comment, which I didn't realize that would happen when I took him off stage. Let me do that again. Okay, now I'm going to take you off now, right? Right. Take myself off now. All right, so let me just do this now. Right, so that might be a little better arrangement. It's not extremely large, but we can still rock with this, okay? Yeah. Okay, nice. So let's talk a little bit about your Pinterest, your lovely Pinterest content.
Well, Pinterest is like my passion creative project. It's all the things that I really am interested in one space. It's pretty much like voyeuristic, what do you call it? Mood board, storyboard, idea board, vision board even. And I'm highly visual as well, you know. So it's really just that collection, that curation of all things great on Pinterest.
All right, so there's some notable things about your
Pinterest. The early creators that was invited to test out the stories for Pinterest from last year as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? How did you get that privilege? Tell me how. Tell me how. How did it be like, yeah, you?
I don't know. I just had access. Some people had access and I was one of them. When God opens doors for you, nobody can shut them.
Listen, okay, so here's the thing, right? So here's the thing. I want, but also I think you were you active on the platform as well?
I don't know if I wasn't as active. I've gotten much more active because I see a lot of response in Pinterest. Pinterest had always, do you know how I found out about Pinterest? I thought I saw people stealing my photos. I'm like, where am I getting all of this stuff? And I see people like putting all my photos up. I'm like, what's this going on? So people were actually putting my stuff from chefandstewart.com on their Pinterest boards. And that's how I found out about Pinterest. Around about 9 years ago. And I've since taken it up. But it was just like, I wasn't using it. It was completely underutilized as a platform for me. Then I realized that Pinterest has got to be used because Pinterest is, in essence, its entire search engine, just like Google, just like YouTube. So if you're not doing stuff on Pinterest, then you're really slacking. And
that's right. That's right. I agree with that. Tell me more.
I'm experimenting now with Pinterest, and I'm doing different things on Pinterest, things that people are not necessarily doing. Like what I actually got back in because came in on the tablet looking at what was going on, and I saw that you were going through some of my pins, and I was doing like a voiceover with music as well, and all of that was mixed in on Pinterest. So it's really cool to be able to do that, to make things a lot more dynamic. Video is a big thing, and it gives you the chance to do video in a way that is quite inspirational and quite cool, and it's still short and quite succinct as well.
Okay, so I am fascinated by this. This is this. Remember, I told you on the stream earlier this week there were two things this week you blew my mind with. You know the first one already. You know the first one is the Amazon Live stuff. Blew my mind. This is the second thing that I found out. It's like, what is happening here? I did not know this was a thing. And subsequent to that, now I heard this before, the statistics, I heard it before, but I never really paid close attention to it because we've been using Pinterest for images for years and years, like for wedding stuff and whatnot. But I hadn't seen this format. And as far as Trinidad and Tobago goes, Pinterest is the third largest social media platform. This is according to the data. The third largest social media platform, of course, by visits and by use in Trinidad and Tobago. I think Facebook might be number one, and then YouTube, I think. I'm not sure the first two, but it is the third. And so when I saw it, I was like, man, this is multimedia. This is like images and audio and video, and you're mashing it together and you're creating some nice boards that are moving. And I was really enthralled by the whole presentation of your content on this particular platform.
What I was noticing was that Pinterest seems to not want you to leave their platform anymore, just like all the rest of them as well. So the storyboards don't actually allow you to link out.
Right. I mean, but if you search and you find them, I mean, you could go down a content rabbit hole, essentially. Let me scroll up with your stuff.
You build connections with people through those boards. You know, people get to know who you are, and you have so much. Literally, these are things that I would never do elsewhere. So Pinterest really does allow me to really spread my content. Like I would never do hair stuff on my YouTube. I've never done beauty stuff. I mean, I don't have anything against beauty or hair. It's just, but I did it here because it gives me, I treat Pinterest really, as I tell you, like it's my own inspiration board. So I create content accordingly. And what I notice is it also gives me a break from doing only food content. So I'm doing I do gardening as well. I also have a group on Facebook, a Facebook group of nearly 2,000 people that's called Grow, Cook, Build, Bake, and Create. And that group is also about bringing in a community of people who are active in all of these things that I'm interested in. What I'm teaching people is life skills.
What?
Yeah.
A Facebook group? Can we join?
Yes, you can join. Because the funny thing about it is that here's what happened with that group. This is the funniest thing. It takes one piece of viral content, people. This is a good story for you and for this show. I had that low-key Facebook group for a few years, right? Last year, I posted this piece of content that said, it was about pumpkin leaves. That pumpkin leaves are edible. 15,000 shares. Boom. Every day I was adding 100 people.
Wow.
100 people were requesting to join the group every day, like over 100 people. So it was like, what the heck happened? It was one post. It wasn't even, it was information. That's why I like to share information. I started growing a garden out of gravel, and I documented that experience. And it was deeper than growing a kitchen garden for me. What it was a deeper message that even in the concrete, we're going to bloom where we're planted. Even in the desert of where we are in the pandemic, in this period, we're gonna bloom. We're gonna take this concrete, we're gonna take this desert, and we're gonna make it bloom. And that's what I did. I documented the process. So there's a lot of my content which is just absolutely not superficial. it goes down on a deeper level. And so I want to create a community that goes with, and that doesn't mean that I'm all deep and all. No, I mean, like, one of the things I shared yesterday was, there's this funny thing on TikTok where this girl says, does this whole imagery based on somebody's voiceover of how to act when you're interested in somebody. You need to actually play that one. It's mad funny. It's actually stalker stuff. But
Right.
the way she did it was so funny. So I like to share those things as well. Clean, wholesome fun that people can have a laugh, can have a good time, can show what they're growing, what's not growing, asking questions. Okay, I bought this plant, and this plant it was looking great until it came into my house, and then it's looking like
listen.
Other people who have experience and expertise are able to say, "Oh, I had this. Oh, you need to do." There you go. That little tiny miniature snake plant, and that's one of the easiest ones to grow. And that's a smart one.
Yeah, these are like easy. I got into plants when a few years ago in 2016. So I know the plant stories and struggles. I can't.
But you have to join that group. So we share growing, building, cooking, baking, creating. And what I really wanted to do as well was to create a platform, especially because I renamed it. It was called Chef and Steward Living until last year. Mm-hmm. I renamed it to Grow, Cook, Build, Bake, and Create, because I want to help people to tap into their creativity. Because we need creativity in order to be able to serve, not to be able to really leap in these times that are unprecedented. We have to come up with something new. So if you're not tapping into what is hidden and the vision that you can have and your creative essence, then how are you going to be able to come up with new ideas? And we need people to be creative, not only the people who are in creative industries, but even the scientists, because creativity is not simply confined to art forms. Creativity is a willingness to think outside the box, to explore beyond what is known, to come up with like innovation. And innovation happens in every single industry. So that's what I want to do.
Excellent. All right. So I'm gonna state some facts about your Pinterest, and then I'm gonna show one video, and then we're gonna talk about something else. So I think it was in April, you posted that, I'm not showing it right now because I showed the people a little bit before, that you had 1 million views on Pinterest, right? I checked recently. Now you have 2.8 million views monthly. What happened, Kari? What happened?
It just went, it's pretty much doubling not doubling. I'm adding like 1 million every month.
My goodness. Jared and Lyndon they were floored at that. This is when they said that, right? They were floored, right?
Don't make me simple through myself. That's a very Jamaican one too.
Right. All right. So let's look at this one piece of content, and you'll understand why I want to look at this after I look at it, and you tell me if you figure it out, right? So let's share this thing again. Right? We don't have to show the whole thing. We get to show this piece of it, right? Let's look at this piece right here.
Here are some recipes to make your mama cry happy tears this Mother's Day. Callaloo quiche, air fryer, jerk chicken wings, escovitch fish with pickled onions, callaloo, steamed and delicious, roasted fish and papillote, Solomon grande on top of tostones, and roasted garlic and scallion mashed potatoes with rum and bread butter pudding.
All right. So why do you think I'm sharing that?
Because you're hungry?
No. Tomorrow is Father's Day. Tomorrow is Father's Day. Where's the Father's Day menu?
Oh, you're asking where's the Father's Day stuff?
Yes, get with it.
I actually do have a Father's Day video.
Really?
It's a grilling video. You know what I can do? How do I send it to you? Let me figure out a way to send it to you so you can actually share it. But I do have I did do, in fact, part of what was done on Amazon Live, that's a good segue by the way, was part of the Father's Day feature.
Right.
So
right.
It's the focus on, I did the Amazon Live with the large cast iron skillets, right? And I'm in partnership with Do It Best as well, the Do It Best Aruba, Do It Center Aruba.
Mm-hmm.
So I got those there, got all the ingredients there, because their Super Do It Center has it's a very, really great store because it has everything from food to decor to
Yeah.
construction. So you can build a house, fix it, and cook in it, and serve and entertain indoors, outdoors. So it's like the perfect brand alignment for my brand as well as a
Right.
lifestyle brand. And so I did shakshuka,
Mm-hmm.
with an egg dish
Mm-hmm.
with the tomatoes
I
and
saw it. I saw that shakshuka. I saw
roasted.
it.
Yeah, so that's part of the Father's Day deal. That's like brunch for daddies, and it's so cool because it's fun for the kids to make as well with mommy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool for the dad because you can put it on the grill. It's also an excuse to go on daddy for to get a grill, even a very small grill, because I use a small grill for
Mm-hmm.
this one because I wanted to show people that you could use what you have. So if you have big trigger grill money, my Amazon store has big trigger grills in there for over 1,400 US dollars. But if you have the pocket that can tolerate $50 to $70, I also have that small grill, and I can show you how you can get good stuff out of that small grill. So size does not matter. Size, just like the numbers that in your following, does not matter. All you have to do is to be able to work within the means that you have to steward the resources that you have, and then you're able to get just the same results. So you can use that same small grill, cook the shakshuka on the grill. You can also cook all the other things because there's a grilling episode that's coming. So that's the food that you're gonna see. It's the grilling stuff for that.
Right. Right.
And so, but with a cast iron skillet, you can put it directly on the grill, and that grill can be so small. It can also be a coal stove for when
Right.
in the hurricane season, so that if something goes on, or if you don't have power, or you can't cook, you can cook on a coal stove. And that's
Okay.
something
Okay.
that
Okay.
I learned.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, because like it's raining here now, and sometimes it hasn't happened recently, but sometimes when it rains a lot, the power goes.
And
So I'm
if
like,
in some places where
oh,
nowadays more people are having electric stoves, so when power gone, you just don't have the
you just
capacity.
don't have. Well, we had an electric stove years ago, and it almost ate the house with fire, so we had to get rid of it. Cooking mishaps.
And
Oh,
the
that's a story. That's a,
small
I prob- sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
grill is great because you can actually take it anywhere. So it's also an invitation for dad and family to go out and just cook, to have a good time anywhere, wherever you land. Even in this period of social distancing, you can go take the family somewhere, bring the food, season the meat and everything, and go and cook on the coal stove at some riverside somewhere, or just outdoors, and just sit and talk away from internet maybe, and just have a good time and enjoy each other.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good recommendation, especially kind of well, people say unplug. Just going and spending time with your family. Not being online and being connected all the time. Let me show your Amazon live stuff now, just for a few seconds. We're not going to look at a lot of it, so I'm going to hide us for a couple seconds, and then I'm going to bring us back on, right? So we can look at it. All right, so let's change the arrangement. Here we go. So this is the other thing that blew my mind earlier
Go a
this week.
little bit forward.
Come again?
Go a little bit forward from that one.
Yeah, we're gonna go a little bit forward. How far in? About here?
Yeah, a bit or a little bit before. Yeah, that's about good.
Is the audio on? Did I not share the audio? Oh, it's not on. That's why.
Grill your fruits or your vegetables. For example, this pineapple, if you wanted to have a nice pineapple wedge, or for dessert, or with a grilling thing, you could just put it on this if you don't have a grill. However, I also included for today a small grill that you can buy, and that grill you could also put this on top. You could put any of these on top. Other cast
Right, that's the grill you're talking about, right? That's the exact
Right.
grill. And can you just buy that grill long here?
You can. It's QVC on steroids on
Yeah, so
Amazon.
this is the grill long here, right? For $69.99.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing that amazed me so much. I did not know about this. Clearly, I am late to the game. But yeah, I didn't know that you could literally have this show, use stuff in the show, and then like they could buy it from your affiliate link in your
Correct.
store. Yeah, cast iron cooking. Is it going to be every day? Is going to be cast iron cooking live every
I'm
Monday?
going to change a theme depending on what it is that I'm going to, because again, I also have different things and different lists on my so my Amazon shop is, for those who want to see what it looks like, is amazon.com/shop/chef and steward.
Let me see if I can find it. Here. I'm going to try to go across it. I've never done this before. I don't know what's going to happen. /shop.
I can't actually type in the thing.
Chef. A-N-D, steward.
A-N-D steward, yes.
C-E-W-A-R-N-D.
So amazon.com/shop/chef and steward.
Hope for the best.
There
we got it.
So that's my story.
Lovely. And I followed you live on the stream on Pinterest, and I'm going to follow you live here now on Amazon, right? Let me click on this right here.
Yes.
Follow. Right?
Everybody who's watching, follow me.
Yeah, go follow her. And
even just to see what can be done, it's good to be able to see so we're exploring together as well.
Yes, it's lovely. So you have your kitchen essentials, you have your entrepreneurship essentials. So you're basically teaching people several things with by giving them access to the storefront. You have your blogging and podcasting essentials. You have your Mama's Pamper Station essentials. And you have your chef and steward pantry. You have travel like a boss essentials. You have homemaking essentials. So you have a very excellent kind of mix of it lines up. So what you have in your store lines up with the things that you do.
Correct. So you understand the consistency that I'm talking about. So everything that I sell is everything. In fact, if you go into a lot of the things, like I did even a post on my blog, and I do a lot of these posts as well as top foodie gifts on chefandsteward.com, as well as but even those things, if you go into like kitchen essentials, many of the things that are there are things that I already have and use.
Right. So you're recommending things that you could vouch for.
Some of them are on the wish list.
Right, or some of them on the wish list.
Yeah. And because I also have the experience of directing marketing for the finest kitchen and table store in the Middle East, Tavola. So I did that for a few years. And so I also did all their digital marketing. I streamlined their branding online. And these are stores that are in 6 different countries in the Middle East. And I also have, we also did their e-commerce, their shopping website.
Right.
And I've had to get into knowing a lot about food and kitchen.
Wait, hold on, Kari. LinkedIn has been blowing up. I've been ignoring LinkedIn, and I'm now realizing there are a ton of comments on LinkedIn. I just want to acknowledge a few people. I don't want to interrupt you. I want to acknowledge them. So Kareem is saying, I can't show their comments, unfortunately, on this platform yet, so I'm just going to call them out. Kareem is saying, very awesome convo, brother. Good morning, Juma and Kari. Good morning. John is saying that. Rachel say, I've just come in. I'm nodding in agreement. Charmaine Charmaine is back in the comments saying.
We have to do some monetization for Charmaine. We cannot end this conversation before talking about.
We're gonna talk about that right after this. Jacqueline is saying, good morning. This conversation is filled with gems. That's what Shellen is saying. We tend to believe being an influencer is just about followers. I believe that is much more than that. That's what Shellen is saying. Guys, I'm just putting out the comments there because I can't show it on the screen. This good stuff. Charmaine, huge. Suddenly takes a long time. Yes, that I agree with that, Charmaine. Everybody's path is not yours. That's a gem right there. That's what you said earlier on. Oh, these people they're going in on LinkedIn. I didn't even realize. I can't show it. Right, Pinterest. And Nikisha is saying that Mother's Day menu though. She loves the Mother's Day menu. Go follow Kari on Pinterest. You'll get all that value as well,
I also I catered that meal, that table, I catered that for a family as well that came to Aruba and looked me up and wanted to work with me.
People are saying their mind is being blown with those views. That people are just saying their minds being blown. Jamila is saying that Jamila is my sister and she's also a content creator. And she's saying that Nikisha is wondering where can she get the cookbook? Is it coming out soon? Yes.
I'm working on a 10th anniversary e-cookbook, but I do want a major agent and a major cookbook deal as well. So I'm ready for that. All
right. Okay. So we're gonna come in. We're almost there. We're like 59 minutes and 32 seconds. Let's talk about the stuff Charmaine wanted to hear about the monetization stuff, and we bring everything into a landing. Clearly, I knew this was going to happen. We're not going to fit everything we want to talk about in this 1 hour that we have. But let's talk about that, and then we'll wrap up. And of course, the stream will be up for everybody to see. You can always go back. Now, this is an extension of the Useful Content Creation Show. You'll realize why we could not have this conversation on Thursday. This did not fit. And these are all the different things that we're exploring and expanding on this kind of Saturday show. So let's talk about that monetization stuff, and then we'll bring everything in for a landing. So you go ahead. The floor is yours.
Do you know what though? And I think that because when I came in, you were talking about YouTube, and I hadn't done a lot on YouTube, and that's true. I just started working on YouTube last year.
Right.
Also for my social media. And here's the thing that I was concentrated on, because I believe in ownership. As a content creator, I believe in ownership. And
Right.
that's something I learned from.
Let me just switch you around here.
Yeah, because I'm on the left and you're on the
Let's switch around. Right. Let me show this back. And your name is off. Let me just show it back here. Right. Here we go. There we go. All right, go ahead. You believe in ownership.
Yes. And so ownership is power. Who owns content rules. And so when you have all of these people now posting everything, like I hear people say you're an influencer and you have like, oh, you've got 50,000, 100,000, whatever million people on Instagram. Okay, cool. What happens on Instagram shuts down tomorrow? You know what I mean? So I was, for the first several years, and I probably still am to some extent, but I'm more concerned about building what I own.
Yes.
Because ownership is real.
Yes.
And I teach people that as well. I share lots of stuff, you know, generally I give a lot for free in terms of what I do in terms of my content. And if I'm invited to speak at any conference or whatever, because I do that as well. But the whole point is that we have to be concentrated on owning the content, and then from there you have spin-offs, because there are things like licensing rights and all of those things. Yes. So I used YouTube to park space. So I registered all of it. So I'm consistently at Chef and Steward everywhere, on every platform, even Snapchat, which I don't even have on my phone anymore. But I secure the name. I'm on TikTok at Chef and Steward. I'm on IG at Chef and Steward. I'm on Instagram. I just said IG. I'm on Facebook at Chef and Steward. I'm on Twitter at Chef and Steward. I'm also, the only place I'm not at I'm on YouTube at Chef and Steward. The only place I'm not at Chef and Steward is Clubhouse, where I'm at Kari Heron as myself.
Right.
I have the brand, I have the web URL, chefandsteward.com. I also have the URL kariheron.com. Ownership is important to me. Now, when you own something, then you can sell it. You don't own nothing, you can't sell nothing.
Can't sell it.
The first thing in terms of monetization for me is to build ownership. So when you own it, then you have something to sell. So go ahead.
No, you gotta finish up. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So I just took ads off. Slightly off of my, because we're tweaking something. But I have Google ads on Chef and Steward normally, but Google ads was just doing all sorts of weird things. So we're going back in and strategically putting them in different in set places now. But outside of that, monetization through Google ads, YouTube is also a way to monetize. But YouTube, no, if I had realized more about YouTube, what I do now, I would have paid attention to it earlier, in all honesty. Here's why: because YouTube changed the game and made it so much harder for people to monetize, and I'm quite annoyed about that. You have to. It's like you're working to chase 4,000 watch hours within the last 365 days, and it is within the last 365 days. So if you amass 395 within 365 days, and tomorrow or next month, you didn't do as well, you have to start over. It has to be within 365 days. It has to be consistent.
Yes.
But even though I've given them more than that in terms of views over the past 10 years, because I've had this video with over 140 something.
No, that's the jerk chicken video. That's 122,000.
So I've given them more than that in terms of the duration of my time on YouTube. But they're saying no, they want it in the last. So people are able there. And what YouTube is also now doing is that they are now going to start, and they've already started monetizing videos for people who they're not allowing into their YouTube partnership for monetization. So
Yes.
you can be under your 4,000 hours, and YouTube says, oh, there's a video that you have that's doing very well. I'm going to monetize on that, and you get nothing out of it.
Yes, I saw that that's something that they're doing. People who have not turned on ads are still they could still run ads on their videos and everything. That was a big thing before. YouTube is a whole other rabbit trail. But yeah, I that for me is kind of like is a wall, but at the same time, I mean, if you really want to get into it, and it depends on the reasons too. It's
So that's why YouTube,
you know?
I'm not necessarily like I've changed, like as aiming at YouTube monetization, then I realized that I'm not going to lose my life and lose my joy trying to chase that. I will just make content and put it there. I'll be much more active on the platform.
Right.
You know, my most important thing is for YouTube is really just to add video and more video. So that's more part of a strategy, a brand strategy that's across different platforms to add more video. So I'm going through and I'm filming videos for recipes that I already have on the website, then linking them back to the website, to chefandstewart.com. So my callaloo quiche that did very well, I went and not only did I film a callaloo recipe, I grew the callaloo.
Ooh, you don't say.
I grew the
gardening, yeah.
Yes. So that's when I tell you that's that whole aesthetic coming through, you know, the consistency from seed to table. And so that also did so there are recipes that I've done and I'm now adding video to that. So the YouTube I use as well to showcase, and products were always part of Chef and Stewart. From the very first time I launched the blog, I used to have this section called Our Picks. And it was all about helping people to create a Chef and Stewart home.
Right.
What should you buy? You want to build, you want to start to cooking, you want to start to build a house. What are the things that I really should spend my money on? Some things you can go real, you need to spoil and splurge. Other things you don't need to splurge on. What's the best thing to do? And people don't necessarily know that. I see people who have money buy some things that are really, really sad. Like a glass cutting board.
Okay. That doesn't seem like it's going to be useful. It seems like it'll damage your knives.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But it's cute. But if you don't know better, so when I tell you I serve the good life, I show people, even through my cooking classes, my in-person classes, because I've got in-person classes as well as virtual classes. All of these things show people what to do, how to do it. So even my Amazon store is linked to my YouTube videos. So when you go to my YouTube videos and you see the stuff that I use in the description box, you can see if you want that, you can buy it here, that sort of thing. So monetization through Amazon. Amazon also is another issue too, because Amazon just turned down their profit, their percentage. They're now giving less than before, and Amazon doesn't need to give less. Amazon could very well give more.
Yeah, they could give more.
Another issue. That's why ownership is so important. So the next level that I really want to get to be very honest with you, is to actually get into more merchandising. So, you know, if investors want to come and work with me directly, I've got lots of my own Chef and Stewart brand ideas that I actually want to develop. The part of the business that you see is only part of the vision. There's a lot that is still not yet articulated because we're waiting on the right time. That's suddenly to burst forth.
Well, clearly we're going to have another conversation about all of this other stuff that's going on behind the scenes that no one can see right now. But we have definitely people. It's been so great talking with everyone. I know we covered some of the monetization stuff just now. Hopefully, Charmaine, that is good enough, and you got a big chunk there. And yeah, so we definitely have to come in for a landing, because we've been on for an hour, 19 minutes and 21 minutes now. I know you kind of jumped off the internet and stuff. You jumped off for like 5-10 minutes. So we got that back, which was very, very good. So do you have any last closing things you want to say, Kari, and encourage the Caribbean entrepreneurs or Caribbean content creators or anybody in general? It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically that, but something you want to leave us with, like a nugget or something that is on your mind or you want to see. And then, of course, at the end there, you could just kind of tell people where they can find you. So the floor is yours.
When I started this thing off, one of the major ways to monetize, and I haven't said that yet, it needs to be said, is actually through clients seeing my work and actually wanting to work with me through consultancy, through different things, through content audits, etc. Through also me creating content strategies for them, especially in food and lifestyle, because I'm not only a blogger, not to say there's anything wrong with blogging, but there are other things that I bring, a lot of skills and experience, 25 years in communication, generally speaking, as well, and marketing. So I have a very triangular look at things, and I understand consumer side, I understand brand side as well. And so I'm able to help people. So they reach out to me, and so consultancy, food photography consultancy, and content production, content strategy, those things, writing as well, because I've written for apartment therapy. By the way, you didn't know that one, did you? And yeah. Today's Juneteenth, by the way, so we have to recognize the celebration of Juneteenth today.
Yeah, it's almost passed in the House as a federal holiday now.
It is.
It's currently passed? Okay.
It's passed, and who's in name? Biden signed it off as well. So it was passed in the House and Biden signed it off. So There you go. And we're in red as well today. We're always in red, right, Juma?
I'm always in red in the circus though.
But yeah, the whole thing is what I do is because everything that I do is there. My business was crafted around that. So the main way of monetization is really through working with me directly, brand deals, working as a consultant as well, and so on and so forth. So that's the major point of, but passive streams were what we were just discussing earlier. These now are more active streams, and that's where you have the bigger funnel coming in, the bigger income coming into these things, because these are not just these take more time and are more high level consultancy, and so on. So you bring that level of expertise to a client.
I think this topic deserves a space by itself where we could talk about, because that's something that's on people's minds. How do you then turn all this content that you're making into actual money? How do you build a business out of the content? The term that they're using now is content entrepreneur. That's the term that they're using for it. That's a term from this guy, the guy who originally started the Content Marketing Institute, Joe Polizzi, I think that's his name. So that's what he is. That's what he's saying, a content entrepreneur. That's the way people are terming it.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's the big deal. The big deal is, how do you turn all this content, the stuff that you're making, into actual returns, like passive income, active income, deals, etc. I had also the questions to ask you about that, but we definitely going to have to dedicate a whole segment all by itself in terms of the monetization side of content. And but in the meantime, you can tell the people where to find you, and then we'll take this come in for a strong landing here.
I'm at Chef and Stewart everywhere. My blog is chefandstewart.com. And you can also find me on Clubhouse if you're so inclined, at Kari Heron. And my portfolio is visible at kariheron.com.
Lovely. Kari, this is twice for the week. It was so great. The first conversation was great. This has gotten even better. It's like fine wine with a very, very short time to get better. It's just over a few days. So I'm so thankful for you being on. You shared a lot with us today about your process, about giving insights into your content, and we're very, very thankful for that. Thanks everyone who came on, Nikisha and Camille out of Jamaica as well, and everyone on LinkedIn who I can't show your comments. I want to show them, but I can't show the comments. And everyone who joined us on YouTube, Lyndon and Jared, and this person who's a friend with me on Facebook, but their name is Sugar Shack, and they don't have a picture. Look. Here's what it is. Let me show this. This is how it comes up. I don't know. I have no idea who this is actually. But thank you so much for joining us, and we do appreciate it. And we'll see you soon again next week, Thursday, for another episode of the Useful Content Creation Show. And then we'll have another extended interview, hopefully, on a Saturday. Thanks again, Kari, and we'll see you soon.
God bless you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, bye, everyone.